days ago, I asked you to send me questions to celebrate reaching 10,000 subscribers. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you to every single one of you who support the channel. It has been a dream of mine ever since I was a little kid, and it's so crazy to see my content bring all of you together and create such an amazing community. I really could not express my gratitude enough. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from my usual work, and that's answering whatever questions you have about me or the game with some gameplay in the background. With that being said, let's get to our first question that comes in from Tuhuamohi, who asks, pineapple on or off pizza? Now, I'm a bit on the fence with my opinion on this one. I don't hate the taste. In fact, I think it pairs really well as a topping. However, I don't think it belongs there. The concept of pineapple on pizza is wild to me, but then again, I grew up pairing foods like apple and pork, which is very popular in a lot of cultures, so I guess it's not so crazy after all. Next question comes in from Dunique21. Which survivor would you say is your main, and which killer is your main? For Survivor, I main Kate Denton. If you see me in-game, I'll usually be wearing this cosmetic. However, if I'm live, I'll switch out the shirt for the Twitch one. And for Killer, my main is Evan McMillan, aka The Trapper. It's just so satisfying to hear survivors step into a trap, and I love the strategic style gameplay, placing traps and predicting the survivor's every move before they make it. I know that he's a D tier killer or whatever, but that doesn't stop him from being fun. Next question comes in from Burrito2456. How long have you been doing YouTube? Officially, I have no idea. I've been uploading videos to YouTube for as long as I can remember. Back when I was in primary school, I think I was in 5th grade. My friends created this YouTube channel. So me and my other friend, we didn't want to miss out. We also wanted to make our own channel. I don't think that's still up at all. Yeah, no, I've been on YouTube for a long time, and I've definitely deleted a lot of channels and been super inconsistent since then. But technically, I want to say I've been creating for maybe 15 years now, but I've only become consistent as of 8 months ago. Next question comes in from Tillin Insano K9Q. If I'm butchering any of these names, by the way, I am so sorry. I am trying my best. Anyways, the question is, would you collab with other creators from the DBD community? Absolutely. I would love to do that in the future. However, I do feel a little bit weird about it right now. Although, yes, I've now hit 10,000 subscribers and we're still growing, it just doesn't feel real to me yet. Everything's been happening so fast that I think I'm still in denial, and I feel like I'm not a proper creator, whatever that means. So to think that I could potentially collaborate with another creator, I don't know. I guess I feel like I don't quite belong in that crowd just yet. Like I've still got something to prove, but I definitely do want to one day. I already have a few videos that I think could be really fun working with other creators. I just have to start reaching out. Next question comes in from Holmo34. What's your absolute favorite killer, and what's your least favorite, and why? Grats, by the way. Thank you. Favorite is gonna have to go to the Trapper, whether I'm the one playing him or I'm playing against him. I love seeing Trapper mains in the game since they're so rare. It's cute to see a baby Trapper learning the best way to place their traps. And when I see a skilled Trapper, I just have immense respect for them. It's not easy playing Trapper. He's a D tier killer for a reason, so I love seeing it when people give him a go. And as for least favorite, it's got to go to the Ghoul. I have nothing against the character itself. In fact, his mobility is so fun to glide around the map, but the players, man. I've seen in my lifetime maybe 3 respectful Ghoul players. Every other one either tunnels, slugs, or BMs every match, and I kinda get it. I mean, it's a killer who can return to the hook in an instant with his high mobility, and he just isn't punished for it. So, do whatever you gotta do to win, I guess. Next question comes in from Jake Karaya 4326, and they ask, was there a particular content creator that inspired you to start content creation and inspired my style of editing? Ooh, okay. Since I've been creating since forever, I have no idea who really inspired me to start. Maybe, Captain Sparkles or something, I don't know. So, I'm gonna answer this question in the context of my DBD content, and I would say the creator who really inspired me to start DBD content in the first place has to be Spooky Loops. I watch his videos all the time, and they are super entertaining. Plus, he's a great killer main, and I've learnt a lot from him. As for my style of editing, I've gotta give it to JRM. I sort of blend the two together with my own twist, but JRM's content is just so engaging, and he's basically mastered the art of high retention editing in DBD content. I don't think I have ever been bored watching a JRM video. I'll leave links to both creators in the description. Next question comes in from aceofshame. What's your favorite build for the artist? I'll be honest, I don't really play the artist. I'd like to try her out more, but I've only really played her for my adept challenges. Artist is super strong and chased, so I'd probably run some info perks with some slowdown. So if I could make up a build on the spot, I would say Nurse's Calling to stop survivors from healing each other and pressure them with birds. Also, I've been really liking Thrilling Tremors lately on most killers, so that you can see what gens are being worked on after you hook someone. And again, you can send out your birds to those gens. Turn back the clock so that you can commit to chases and not waste time kicking gens. And finally, something like Discordance to see multiple survivors working on the same gen. There is nothing scarier than an artist player who always knows where you are. Next question comes in from TTV_MS, and they ask, what made you want to do music and content? Did you study music or something similar? So I've been making music for a long time, and for those of you who don't know, I post on all platforms like Spotify and Apple Music under the name Matt Sang. I actually just dropped a new song last Friday called Wither. Anyway, I used to have guitar lessons back when I was in like 3rd grade, maybe up until 8th grade. And a lot of my family were musicians, so it's been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. When I was in high school, one of my friends started up his own rap career, making covers and originals and posting them to YouTube. And one day, I had this assignment in my creative industries class to make a music video to either a pre-existing song or an original. So my group, of course, thought it would be fun to make an original song that we called Falling to Pieces, that I will never let see the light of day. It was so bad, but back then we thought it was great. And I've kind of been making music ever since. Self-taught, self-producing, self-recording, and self-releasing. I've never taken a class, I've done everything at home. As for content, I'm also completely self-taught. Basically doing trial and error for years and years until I found what stuck. And the reason I wanted to do this in the first place is because I love the idea of immortalizing memories via the internet. I also think it's really cool that I can create a piece of visual media that could be consumed by literally anyone around the world that could make a positive impact on somebody's life. Now, I know that sounds kind of crazy for DBD content, but if I manage to inspire at least one of you to maybe even start your own content creation journey, then all of this was worth it to me. And for their second question, they have a DBD related question. If you could wish for any killer in the game, not Pennywise, what killer would you want? Not Pennywise, huh? I haven't really thought about this. I'd been waiting for Springtrap to enter DBD for so long that now that he's finally here, I don't really have anyone else on my list. I don't know how it would work, but the red-faced demon from Insidious could be cool. Insidious was like the first horror movie to actually ever scare me. Granted, I watched it when I was like 12, but the scene with the family on the couch and the daughter with the rifle or shotgun, that sent chills down my spine. I genuinely could not watch, but I don't think they're very memorable to the franchise, so I reckon the red-faced demon would be cool, but I just don't know how he would work. Next question comes in from KaineVibes. What is the worst character you think they've added to the game? I don't know if you mean this subjectively or objectively, so I'll give both. Subjectively, I'm really not a fan of the Plague. I know a lot of people who have phobias regarding her power that are so bad that they are forced to DC and suffer the consequences. Even I'm not a fan of the constant sounds and animations survivors make while infected. So, when it comes to the worst that affects players, I think Plague takes the cake. But objectively, I think Skull Merchant really needs some work. Her power is incredibly weak, and her only strength is the fact that she can be stealthy, I guess. But there are so many other stealth killers to choose from that are so much better. Next question comes in from StanSethley. How do you feel about the current state of DBD and where it's headed in the future? This game has certainly changed a lot over the past decade. Okay, wow. This is really a sit back in your chair and stare at the ceiling type of question. I think the current state of DBD is fragile. And at any moment, it can break and fall apart. Don't get me wrong, the additions coming to the game are going to be great for us, and I think Behavior is doing a good job in what they have planned, but there is currently such a clear divide between players with an us versus them mentality. Killers versus survivors, even survivors versus survivors. Endgame chats, TikTok comment sections, Twitter threads are all filled with such negativity. I feel like everyone's just attacking each other for no reason. I truly think that this stems from the lack of knowledge and experience. Like, the more you understand the game, the less aggressive you are to everyone else. But due to the modern day competitive nature of video games, I don't think this will truly ever go away. The fact that there is no real punishment for being so toxic, not just in-game but out of it too, since everyone can just hide behind usernames and keyboards and say whatever they want, makes it incredibly hard for the game to change its reputation of its community. If you ask other content creators what they think about the community of Dead by Daylight, I promise you, many will not have kind words. So, all I can hope for is that people are nicer to each other, but we obviously can't control that. We can only control ourselves. Next question comes in from idrods. Do you think you will ever host/participate in another Minecraft UHC? For those of you who don't know, prior to locking in with DBD content on this channel, I was in a content group called 656 Project. I am still in that group, but we've just been super inactive. But anyway, back then we would host these Minecraft ultra hardcore tournaments and we'd make videos on them. And when I got my last job, I completely stopped creating, so the UHCs went away. And so did 656. And I don't think I'll ever do another UHC, at least not for a very long time, but we'll never say never. Next question, what initially inspired you to start content creation, both when you started your streaming career and then your Matsang live channel? So I already talked about that, I guess, with my first steps into content creation years ago, but I have another story about my first ever live stream, which I think I could share. So back in November 2019, I started my first ever live stream. Back then, Ninja was like #1 everywhere. He was the streamer or whatever, and he signed a contract with a company called Mixer so that he could start streaming over there. So I downloaded Streamlabs and for the first time hit the live button to test if I could even stream in the first place. I asked my friends to hop into my stream to tell me if it works, and Mixer had an algorithm that saw that I had 7 viewers on my first stream literally ever at the very start of my stream. So they put me at the top of the front page for my entire first stream. I was #1 up and coming on day 1. And then day 2, I did a 24-hour stream. And again, I was #1 up and coming the whole time. I got like 150 followers or something on my first stream. And because of this, I thought there was something here for me. Then eventually Mixer shut down and I moved to Twitch, where not everyone followed. But over the years, remaining consistent, we are bigger and better than ever before. All right, next question. What is your end goal for your channel, if you have one yet? I don't really have an end goal, and I don't intend on making one. I know that this is a 10K sub special, but that's more to show appreciation for your support. I'm not really focused on numbers and setting goals. I'm here to create the best that I can, and I'll keep doing it for as long as I can. Question number 4, favorite anime? Look, this is a really basic take, but Attack on Titan has to be my #1. The animation, soundtrack, storytelling, character development, and foreshadowing is incredible. If you're not a big anime watcher, I'd highly recommend just this one. A next set of questions comes from Lavender Rev, and they said, I'm so happy you're almost at 10K already. I really enjoy watching you, and I think it's absolutely deserved. First of all, thank you so much. Those are some really kind words. And their questions are, how long ago did you start playing DBD? I first started playing DBD back in 2021, I think. I got to about 400 hours, mostly playing with friends in custom servers and survivor lobbies. And then I took a break playing games like Valorant or Rainbow Six or something. But then eventually I returned to the game again for a bit in 2023, but that wasn't for very long. I eventually took another break, but came back right before Springtrap was released. And I've been here ever since, and I don't plan on leaving in a very long time. And the next question is, who is your favorite killer? Trapper! Easy peasy. And the most important of all, cats or dogs? Ooh, tough question. I love and am allergic to both. But if I had to pick one, I'd have to go with dogs. I've owned 2 in my lifetime so far, Charcoal and Maverick. And I'm currently fostering a dog right now, and his name is Eddie. We've had him for about a year now, and we actually got some news that someone's finally interested in giving him his forever home. So that's very exciting. Next questions comes in from Flowery Flora, who has 10 questions. All right, question number 1. How long have you been interested in content creating, and what what made you want to be a content creator? I've kind of covered this earlier, so I think I'm gonna skip over this one. Sorry, Flora. Question 2. When did you start seeing progress in your content creating career? Okay, I've had a bunch of moments where I've jumped in progress, such as my first Mixer streams that I mentioned earlier. I had some short successes over on TikTok, posting my stream clips like Lethal Company that I managed to get in right before it blew up. I like to joke around from time to time and say that I'm partially responsible for it blowing up, but I think it was inevitable. And then again recently with my basement trapper video, it was such an outlier compared to my other videos getting like 80,000 views or something, and all the other ones hovering about, I don't know, 1 or 2,000 at the most. However, right now, going from 2K to 10K in the span of 2 weeks is mind-blowing. I think this is truly the beginning of something huge. Question number 3. What kind of jobs have you had prior to content creating, and were they fun? Oh, this is a crazy question. So after I graduated high school, I moved into a country town to work in an abattoir, which is a sheep slaughterhouse. I went to work there so that I could work with my dad. I was struggling so hard to find work after I left school, and the only job that I could find that would accept me was a 3-hour drive away from home in a small town to stack boxes of meat in a giant industrial freezer. The smell was horrible, and you never really got used to it. So no, this one wasn't fun. My next job, working in the distribution centers and parcel facilities, sorting mail. I never did any of the deliveries, I just kind of made sure it was going to the right places, and it was very mind-numbing, also not fun. And lastly, my most recent job, stocking merchandise in the fridges and freezers. The workload there was like nothing I'd ever seen before, and was so taxing on both my body but also my mental, to the point where I was waking up to go to work and coming home to sleep, and that was it. I had made some amazing friends though at that job that I do keep in touch with today. They made work fun, but the job itself, not so much. I just kept daydreaming day in and day out about making this channel work, and in order for me to do it, I had to quit and go all in. Thank God that it worked out. Question number 4. If you had to pick the 4 best survivor perks or the 4 best killer perks, what would they be? This is such a hard question. Most of the best perks for each side are already well known, such as Dead Hard, Decisive Strike, and Unbreakable, to counter slugging and tunneling since it's the most popular strategy today. However, I'll say one of the most underrated perks that not many people use, that I think is probably one of the strongest when it comes to extending chases, and that is Smash Hit. Not only do you stun the killer, but you're also now on the other side of a loop, which creates so much distance between them and you. And on top of that, you get haste as well, to make it even further. As for killer, it really has to go to the slowdown perks. Pain Res and Eruption are great for creating pressure across the map, and perks like Thrilling Tremors and Turn Back the Clock are a great combo to see who's working on gens and pressuring them straight away without kicking the gen yourself. Question number 5, have you ever done any sort of study at uni, or have you wanted to? Not at university, but I've studied 2 diplomas at TAFE, which is basically just college for Australia. I've done a course in film and TV where I met some of my best friends to this day back in 2020. And then in 2023, I did a course in music business, learning about like record labels, contracts, management, and stuff that has landed me a bunch of awesome opportunities. Question number 6, if you could have any exotic animal as a pet, what would it be? Easy, tigers. Question number 7, who's a killer or survivor you would like to see brought into DBD, if any? This one I also kind of answered, so I think I'm gonna skip this one too. I have no idea what survivors I want in DBD. Question number 8, do you have a lucky number? If so, what is it? My lucky number is viewed as not so lucky by most people. I've always found that the number 13 is my lucky number. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just incredibly unlucky and I never notice. Question number 9, how many countries have you visited, if any? I've only left the country once, I think, to go to Indonesia when I was in like the 5th grade. I spent a couple of weeks in Bali for a wedding, and it was so sick. Everything is so cheap over there. The Australian dollar holds so much power. And then finally, question 10, who is your favorite kind of person, personality-wise? Is there a personality for people who do gens? If so, that one. But in all seriousness though, I don't know how to answer that. I haven't really thought about that before, so I'll give you an update when I figure that out. Next set of questions, oh my god, it's another list, comes in from Sezeg_. aka Sis. And the first question is, what is something you wish you could tell your younger/past self? If I could go back and say anything to my younger self, I'd probably introduce him to the word sonder. I only learned of this word like a few years ago, and it hit me so hard that I even have a tattoo of it on my right arm. For those of you who don't know what the word sonder means, it's like the awareness that other people have their own complex set of feelings and experiences. Everyone is living life just as unique and complex as your own, so they are like the main character of their story, just as much as you are in yours. I use it as a reminder that not everything is about me, just as not everything is about you. And it's a reminder that no one cares about what you do, in a comforting way. So you shouldn't fear pursuing your dreams or just being yourself, since the people you think are judging you are probably just thinking about themselves, or thinking you're judging them. Question number 2, what do you find is the best part of creating content? This is gonna sound really cheesy, but the best part of content creation, honestly, is you guys. I don't make these videos just for me. Like, yes, I am immortalizing my own memories onto the internet for me to look back on, but also to educate and entertain you all as well. Seeing what I create actually help and inspire others is what keeps me going, and I love reading all of your comments and interacting with you all. I know that we just hit 10,000 subscribers, but even if there's only just one of you watching, I would still gladly be here every day if it means that I could be a positive impact on someone's life. Question number 3, if you couldn't play DBD ever again, what game would you play instead? Oh, this is such a hard question. I used to spend a lot of time on shooters like Valorant or Rainbow Six, but I don't think I would ever return to an FPS style game again, unless occasionally playing with friends. So there is no game that stands out for me like DBD does. For me, I'd want to pick something that's constantly replayable, like Minecraft, I guess. Yeah, I'll pick that as my answer. Number 4, what did you want to do before content creation? This is a great question. I've wanted to create content for years now when I was a kid, and as you know, I did, but I wasn't consistent with it. But that sort of stemmed from wanting to enter the film industry. I love the idea of being on set, whether I'm a director, lighting technician, director of photography, or just an extra in the background. I loved everything film. As I mentioned earlier, I did a film course a few years ago where I met some of my best friends that some of you in the community know to this day. And I think what I learned through film and television has translated so well into content creation. Question number 5, favorite food ever? Tortellini. Next. Question number 6, what's an activity/game you refuse to ever do again? Rainbow Six Siege. I have spent way too many hours in that game, and ever since it got blown up due to Jinxie's popularity, the game was never the same again. There was a huge influx of new players, which mixed up the ranks of every match, making every game super unpredictable and borderline unplayable. Players would boost from bronze to diamond lobbies just from doing dumb plays and confusing the higher elos. So no thanks. Question number 7. What was your Spotify Wrapped last year? This is actually really embarrassing. My whole Spotify Wrapped was just sleep music. I had a playlist with my top 100 songs from last year, and after filtering through and taking out all of the sleep songs, I had 35 left. But my top songs were Caroline by Artemis, Mysterious by Fordo, In the Flesh by Aries, STS by Wes Patrick, and Obvious by Fordo. I'll just put the whole playlist in the description if you want to hear what I listen to. Question number 8. What's your best joke? I don't have any. I'm not funny. Question number 9. If you could sit down and have a conversation with one person, dead or alive, who would it be? I don't know. Maybe the guy who invented pineapple on pizza, and see what's going through their head. Alright, so this final set of questions comes in from Skeletor2142, or as many of you in the community know, as Jake. And he asks, what are some tips you would give to some content creators trying to start their careers? Ooh, what a good question. First things first, I want to say, don't take advice from somebody who doesn't have what you want. I got this piece of advice from my old mentor, and he said something along the lines of, you wouldn't ask a homeless person for advice on how to buy a house. You know, so in the terms of content creation, I would encourage not to take feedback from people who haven't done it themselves. For example, if somebody comes onto one of your videos and they have no videos posted, they have no subscribers, yet they're telling you how you should edit or change your video, don't listen to them. It's your content, you make it how you want to create it. Only take advice from the people who you look up to. And on top of that, I also want to say, don't push for perfection. Just post consistently and aim to get 1% better with every post. Whether it's your thumbnails, editing, commentary, storytelling, never stop learning. and always push for improvement. Question number 2. What has been your strangest interaction with someone in DBD? This is a really hard question to answer. The only one that really stands out for me is one time I had a passive glitch trap. We were on the Haddonfield map, and for the longest time, I didn't know who the killer was. He ran insidious and just watched us through windows or edges of door frames, and as soon as we saw him, he just disappeared into the shadows and stalked us from somewhere else. He didn't have an endgame build or anything, he just wanted to scare us for the fun of it. It was great. Question number 3. What does the editing process for a video usually look like for you? I was actually thinking about making a video showing how I edit, how I make thumbnails, and basically sharing everything I know about content creation, but that's gonna come much later when I have a little bit more to show for it. But for editing, I always start with the intro. I put 110% effort into that since it's the most important part of the video. There's like no point doing all of the work in the gameplay if no one sticks around to watch it. So I start off cutting up my voiceover, making sure that there's a good flow of dialogue, and then adding all of the overlays and animations. I usually also at this time add sound effects too, creating almost the final cut before adding subtitles, which I do at the very end of the process. And editing my gameplay is quite simple. I just watch through the games, cutting out all of what we call dead air or boring moments. And if I can think of an edit or a joke or a meme or whatever, I'll kind of do that as well as I go. Then I go back and edit in the perk description overlays. I quickly review and skim through the video to make sure I'm happy with it, and then I export. And then the last question to close off the video: will you ever forgive yourself for that time you fell off a ladder in Minecraft Hardcore and died? This is a crazy callback. For those of you who don't know, before I made DBD content, I made a small Minecraft hardcore series that ended very quickly when I fell off a ladder, losing everything. I actually still have a clip for it and everything that still haunts me to this day. But if that never happened, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today making DBD content. So yeah, I forgive myself. But with that being said, that is going to be it for today's video. I know this was a long one. You guys had a lot of questions to ask me, and if you have any more questions, then you can go ahead and ask me via the Discord or in my Twitch stream chat. But with all that being said, thank you again so much for 10,000 subscribers. I honestly still can't believe that we've made it this far so quickly. I appreciate every single one of you, and with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I've been out in the